It took a little time. What is up, Internet? I'm live with Daniel and Beth Gregory of
Total Recovery Ministries.
Total Recovery Ministries. Where's that located out of?
We have started in Ider, but we're looking to make a home here in Rainsville.
Okay, elaborate a little bit. What do you mean?
What do we need?
No, what do you mean make a home in Rainsville?
Oh, we are opening up a man's home, and we're in the process of fighting the court to get it open. So,
all right. So, what is a men's home for people that don't know?
well, it's more like a transition home, not just people want to think of a rehab, but any man that's ever been knocked down and got knocked off his feet and needs help getting back up, whether it's going through a divorce or anything he struggled with, it's you got him down and needs help back on his feet and transition back into a normal life.
So, oh man, I don't even want to get fired up on people, but I do. Beth, so what do you think about it, the men's home? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that it's really needed in Rainsville. I think it's really needed in DeKalb County as a whole. But there's nowhere for men or women to go in Rainsville, Alabama, and I think that it's a problem in our community that some are just not wanting to see.
Now, when you say a problem, I get fired up. Man. What do you mean a problem?
Well, our neighbors, your neighbors, are in their bathrooms sticking needles in their arms. And you may know it, you may not know it. You may know it and not want to accept it. However, you don't want them to get help for that problem.
That's strange. So let's say someone is going through that. And Jesus is here. This is way back in the day. And Jesus is here. He's down here hanging out. What would he have just kind of shunned that person away, or what do we think Jesus would have said to those people? And y'all can both have your own answer to that. Y'all go ahead when you're ready.
I think that's who he rallied around. People who was broken and misfits and cast out, and people that felt like they didn't belong. He rallied around them and made them feel like, hey, you belong to me. I want you.
I like it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, those ones who thought that they were righteous, he flipped the tables on, so who are we to judge? But I think it's just, we just have to accept, that it is a problem, not only in our communities, but in the United States. But, if you're living in the community where it's a problem, let's help them. Let's look at some places such as, Kenny Young's facility.
His place in Opelika.
His place, that's right. There's also His Way up in Huntsville. There's the Father's House, ran by Katina Blanchett. Let's look at those places and the success rate of those places and how not only is it helping the individuals that come in spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically, but it's helping the community.
Yep.
I mean, as far as taxpayers, and
why would you not want people to have the opportunity to get clean?
Right. But they don't want it.
No. Okay. Now we're going to get more into that in a minute. I'm going to come back to that. Now we're going to come back to they don't want it. Now growing up, everyone knows my mom passed, about 10 years ago. We talked about it a little bit earlier. My mom passed from drug use. There was more involved than that. There's other stuff to it. A lot of people that do know the story do know, and those that don't probably don't know me good enough, for us to have talked about it. That's my mother. Now, I know my mom was doing drugs. She was probably doing meth, I believe. That's what I've been told. But now, at the same time, if someone was to sit there and call my mama a crackhead, we would have to fight about it, right? Now, my mom, I don't know, she had good family members around her. She had good stuff around her. But there wasn't really anything like his place and like what y'all are trying to put together and stuff like that. The only thing that I think that I could have done to change the scenario of things would have been to have took my mom, tied her up, and put her in a room. And then, she can't go anywhere. She can't do anything. Well, that's also kidnapping.
Yeah.
Right? That's also, you can't do that.
Charge.
So how many people do y'all think from here alone has been to his place? Just an idea, just around about how many y'all think?
Oh, Lord. Kenny said over 50% are from this area.
50% from DeKalb County.
At least.
And they do hundreds?
They do hundreds, yes.
hundreds a year through the program.
Yeah.
Kenny has a great success rate at his place. All those guys, regardless of what their shortcomings are, regardless of what they're messing up and doing, whatever their sin is, every time I've ever met those people, they've came out to, and I say those people in like, I can't say every name individually. Every time I've met someone from his place, they've gave me a hug, told me God loves me, told me they love me. They used to help with the shows that we were doing.
Yeah.
It's always been a great atmosphere and people to be around. They love each other and they're trying to help each other. That being said, why do you think it is 50% from here? Well, what I'm getting at is we used to be the sock capital of the world.
Yes.
Right? We've got Trevor Peak on TV now. We had the AFC. We've had a bunch of people go to TV. Used to be sock capital of the world. Instead of being anything good and cool to be proud of, it's called Meth Mountain, right?
And that's a shame. It is.
So if I wanted meth, and I put it on the internet, and there's someone that has it, how long do you think it would take me to get that?
Oh, you'd have it pretty quick.
30 minutes?
Yeah, at least.
Why is it so easy to get that around here?
Well, I guess broken people looking for broken people.
Yeah.
You know, and just reach out and make another connection. They're not ashamed of what they're doing. I mean, they don't really. I don't think they really have the conscious ability to think, what they're doing. I think when they started doing drugs, it trapped them in that I wouldn't say that mindset, that age level they was in. They never matured. So, if that makes sense.
I get it. Kevin Poole and Crystal Tilley said, so proud of you. Crystal Tilley said, so proud of you guys, Daniel and Beth Gregory. Kevin Poole said, very proud of my brother-in-law. And then he said 2 Corinthians 5:17. So tell us a little bit about your story, Daniel. You told me you had kind of started your journey to, I guess, sobriety, right? Is that the correct word? Kind of started right here on Carlisle Road. Tell us a little bit about it, as much as you're comfortable telling.
Well, it was July 13th, and
that's my birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
It is, man. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right.
It's his birthday, too.
I like it. Happy
Yeah, it's my
birthday,
spiritual
man.
birthday.
I like it.
So I was coming back from delivering something, and I come back up here and I come across the burnt church right there, and the police was sitting there waiting on me. And I was so tired of living that life. I live right down here, just a couple of houses down from where we're at now. And I would sit on the side of that bed, no matter if I had cars in the yard, had money in my pocket. I was so miserable. And I would hear the Holy Spirit speaking in my heart. He said, you're not supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be helping families. So July 13th, I come past burnt church, and I seen the police come out behind me. And the first instinct was to, put it to the floor and get a little distance. But
we getting gone.
Yeah, I thought, well, I'm so tired, man. I'm tired of riding this ride. I said, Lord, it's over, I pulled into my yard, and I kind of stalled a little bit, trying to figure out how to tell them what I wanted to tell them, where the stuff was. And I finally told them, I said, there's an ounce and a half under my front seat. And I said, I'm tired, So I'm so spiritually worn out. And they handcuffed me, and they was happy. And I told them when one of the task force agents pulled up, and he was like, I don't know his real name. We called him Spaz. And I told him, I said, look, man, I'm handcuffed behind my car right here. And I said, there's 3 more ounces in the house. I don't want to come back out and have to face this. I'm tired. I'm done with it. And, I said, if so be it, if I have to go to prison, I go to prison. But handcuffed right there behind my car is when I asked the Lord to come into my heart.
That's wild, man.
And, people talk about, they say jailhouse religion. I didn't wait till I got there.
I got you.
I was ready. I thought, well, Lord, if I'm going to go to prison, I want you to go with me. And I said, if you still want me, Lord, I'm yours. And man, he began to do a change in my heart right there on the spot. And it was miraculous. It was. I went to prison, and I did 3.5 years in federal for drug trafficking. I had a 58-month sentence. I did a program called the RDAP, Residential Drug Abuse Program. And I got a year off my sentence, so I got to come home a little early. But during that time in prison, I even told the judge when he sentenced me, I said, whether you sentence me to 5 years or 15 or whatever it may be, I said, when I go back home to Sand Mountain, I'm going to help somebody. I wanted to pour back into the community I helped tear apart, And so, and I told him, I said, I hope it's the former, not the latter. So I want the lesser sentence. I guess he thought, that was courtroom talk. And he heard it all before, but I meant it with all my heart. I meant it when I come back home to Sand Mountain. I was going to change this mountain the good, for God.
I like it,
You know.
man. God is good.
Yes.
God will,
Yes.
he'll snatch you up by that scruff we was talking about earlier. He'll do it, but
Yeah.
he's good, man. So when once you got out, what was the first step for you? What were you gonna do? How'd
Well,
you do it?
My first step was to find a home church and get rooted and grounded in the Word.
I'm
And
listening to you.
when I was in Morgan County holding for federal, that's where they held us at in Decatur for this area. The Lord began to speak to my heart, and I began to think, I thought, well, Lord, I didn't even know a recovery ministry was even a ministry. I never even thought about it. I mean, I've been to Addicts for Christ before I went to prison once or twice, and I never really thought that was, something that God could use. But where else to find the broken people at?
Mm-hmm.
Go to those areas where they're broken at. And I promised, and I knew when I left Morgan County, and like I told the judge when he sentenced me, I said, when you go back home, I'll go back home. I'm gonna help somebody. But just taking them first steps was scary, honestly. We started Total Recovery Ministries May the 21st to 21. We started one night meeting in Ider. We're on Friday night where we feed people and love on people and invite people in and give them a place, to safe haven to come and feel like, they're not outcast and they're loved. I've had so many people come in and say, I'm just hungry. I said, go in there and get your belly full.
Get that belly full.
And then they get their belly full and leave, and that's all right,
I like it.
They know we love them.
I like that. Mom, bring my Bible, please. She'll get it to me here in a little while. She's got babies and stuff, but she'll get it. But
Here she does.
the best thing for man, loving people. I think the Bible says, love people like Jesus does. Thank you. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. I'm gonna let y'all talk while I find the verse. But and y'all know where I'm at. I love John 3:16 and I love John 3:17. A lot of people don't, everybody knows 3:16. 3:17 is a little. Why don't you know the next one? It's a little harder, but I don't know 3:15 either, so I ain't judging
I like
people.
3:17.
Yeah, 3:17 is good. Go ahead, hit us with it. Go ahead, you got it.
They said he come not in the world to condemn the world, but through him that the world might be saved.
And people don't get that.
Yes.
John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he sent his son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. The very next verse most people don't get. It says, though, he did not send his son down here to condemn the world, but to save it. We're going to get a little more into all that later. The verse for me is he didn't come for the righteous, right? He didn't send Jesus for the righteous. He sent him for the sick, the sinners.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm still the worst sinner on this planet. I believe that. I truly believe that. I've sinned against my family, against God, against my home, and I've just recently in the last year started trying to make it right, and reading that Bible is scary sometimes. And I'm trying to get right, try and get saved, try and get right with God and stuff. And when I read that, I'm like, all right, I'm the sick, man. I am sick. Help me out, brother. And I'm trying to get it right, man. I really am. I need time, need prayers, all that. What was your home life like, Daniel, as a young man? And I'm going to go somewhere with that, and I can go somewhere regardless of what your answer is. I'm just curious what your home life was like as a young man.
Well, growing up, Daddy was an alcoholic and he was abusive. He was abusive to Mama, and he's abusive to us boys. He's 5 boys and 1 girl. And Kevin Poole married my sister, so she was the baby out of us, and she's about the toughest one. But Daddy was, he was a hard worker. He was a man that he tried not to be wrong to people, but he was really tough. He was very, very
sturdy.
tough. Yes, my old generation,
Yeah, you weren't gonna talk back.
You're gonna talk back. You don't roll your eyes and don't breathe hard.
Better not.
Don't shrug your shoulders. But he did. I look back now and I think, for years I thought, well, I hated him for that. But I look back now and his daddy left him when he was 2-year-old. And
Same thing with Mr. Golden.
he did the best he can do. He stayed with us even though it was hard.
Yep.
He didn't run off and leave his kids. So he thought he was doing better, and he was,
That's the only saving grace I have, knowing that I'm this big scumbag, horrible person, sinner, and I'm very aware that I am, and I'm trying so hard to be forgiven for it. My wife's forgiven me so much. She has the grace of a saint. I don't know how she does what she does. But with that, where was it going? What had you said? What did you just said?
On the part that Daddy,
go ahead.
He did the best he could do.
That's my saving grace.
Yes.
Is that regardless of every shortcoming that I haven't left. That's the only, as far as a dad and husband goes, I've done everything else horribly and terribly. The only saving grace that I have is I haven't left. And there's something to be said for that. I think there has to be something said for that. I think your dad was probably doing the best he could. What about mom? Where was mom? I have to ask.
Mom was a good mom. She's always there. She was a homemaker, and she kept the house clean. She kept us boys clean. She kept us fed the best she could. There was times when, we had very little, and I remember now looking back, seeing Mama stand beside the stove and watching us all us boys get what we wanted, and her scrape what left in the pan and eat that little bit.
That's like Miss Brown over in. You know how poor Miss Brown was, Papa
Yes.
Brown. She fed a lot of people. A lot of people slept on her couch. A lot of people slept in her spare rooms, and she did what she could. I'll tell you a funny story right quick, and then I'm gonna get to the part what I was gonna get to with that. One day, Papa had to go on a diet. She couldn't eat no more fried chicken. She couldn't eat no more stuff, right? There was certain stuff she just couldn't eat. Now, anytime Papa made chicken fingers, we'd all come running to the house. Now, you remember Charles Brown?
Yeah.
All right. So we're at the house, and Papa's cooking. And we don't know what she's cooking, but it smelled like chicken fingers. Charles is 36 years old at the time, comes running from the horse field, breathing heavy when he opens the door. What's that? She opens the oven, and she had baked squash. He thought it was chicken fingers. He was fired up. He just left. He had to get out of there. All right. So your home life wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. There wasn't just a whole lot of drugs floating around your house, stuff like that. There was some alcoholism. Now, aside from that, how many people do you think you've met that had probably had in addiction that probably had perfect home lives almost?
I was quite a few. I was thinking at this point, I was probably thinking, it's a low percentage of people that come from a good home life that actually made a choice. And, when people make a choice and try something, they're not thinking of the hooks that's in it.
Yeah.
Because once you try something, it latches onto you.
So they had good up. Hey, Mama, handle the baby, please. So with that, they had again, your life was pretty good. Some of their lives seemed like they was really good, and they still ended up with, addiction, trouble, going in and out of jail, all this stuff. Some of them probably dead.
Yeah.
So you're telling me it doesn't just have to be a poor person or someone that likes smoking, dope because they chose to. It could be anyone's kid.
That's what addiction has no discrimination. It could come to anybody's house. It don't matter what color we are, or our background, or what we done, or whether we got finances or no finances. Addiction comes for everybody.
Okay.
That's what I told them at the last zoning meeting. I said, it's at your house, it's at my house, it's at my neighbor's house, and it's got no discrimination. It's down in Turpin Hills in Fort Payne, and
they're very well off.
Yeah, very well off, but it has no discrimination. It don't care who it destroys or what it does.
Now with that, I used to say crackhead. I did. I'd call people that, not out of a place of understanding, because I didn't know. I was like, well, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, one night, this a long time ago, I actually did end up touching some meth. I ended up getting a hold of it, and we decided to do it that night. Next day when I woke up, I hurt for 3 days.
Yeah.
You know what probably would have made me not hurt those 3 days? If I got a little more.
Yeah.
Got a little more. No, you're going to be better. Just do a little more. And that's when I said, oh, that's not for me at all. It was more of a chance thing. I didn't line it up. We was at a bar. It happened. It's a thing that happened in my life. And I said, oh, that's not for me. Now, once I started meeting people in addiction, Hannah Pale, past that. So even before Hannah, Kenny Young. I remember when Kenny Young was out there. Everybody, Kenny talks about it when he's had the fingers going. Kenny talks about it. I saw Kenny during those times. And the reason I can't call nobody a crackhead, reason I can't call nobody out on their name like that is because of Kenny, I believe. Because when Kenny was out there like that, regardless of how he was, he never hit my pockets. He never asked me for no money. And more importantly than all that, anytime I'd see him anywhere, he'd give me a high five, a hug, ask me how I was doing. The same he is now, he'd be a little shakier and stuff. But the same way he acts right now, he acted like that towards me then. Yeah. And I ain't, why am I going to sit here and show hate for somebody that ain't never showed hate for me? Why would I? Any of us can mess up. I was an alcoholic for the longest time. I can put a bottle away better than almost anybody. The problem is handling it after I've done it, right?
That's right.
And so I had to really drastically cut that back. I went to jail a few times. It wasn't ever the worst thing in the world, but I dropped the ball with my wife, my kids, jail, all this stuff more times than I care to admit, and that stuff's legal. Ain't nobody trying to sell me that except the TV.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
nobody want to make no money off me except the tax man up the road. But Kenny always was so great to me. Now Hannah, when she had her stuff going on, she was out there. I didn't see her. I didn't see her at all. Right? Didn't see her a bit. She got cleaned up. She's best dang mama I ever. One of the best dang mamas I ever seen. I love her husband. I love her baby. I love her family. I love her, and I'm so happy for her. Will Sparks, he's kind of fell off a little bit. People can say whatever they want to about Will, whatever he's done, whatever he's doing, things like that. One thing that when I was doing the shows, a couple of times I got shorted money. A couple of times I did. People would short me ticket money. Not Will. He'd go dollar for dollar, regardless of where he was at on it. Regardless of how he was feeling in the world, he'd go dollar for dollar. And I said, hey, you ain't got to do it like that. I trust you. I know I'm getting my money. He said, nope. He'd count it, son. I love Will to death. Again, regardless of where he was at in his life, never a cross word to me. Yes, sir. Love you, brother. How are you, man? I ain't got no hate for nobody. I want them to all get better. I want them to have the opportunity to get better. And if there's really a war on drugs in this area, we should look at more than just putting them in the newspaper or on the local website. I think there's a whole lot more that could be done than that. Celebrating because we got us a dime bag, boys. We got one. We got us a bust. I tell you, I'll get fired up.
Yeah.
Oh man. But so now you said they earlier. You said they are kind of against the men's home. Who is they? What do you mean?
Well, the city of Rainsville is totally against it. We've been to a zoning board meeting on special exceptions twice, and they voted against us. First time 7-0. Then last time we kind of won too hard, so it's 5-2 didn't vote at all. So, but then we had to appeal to the county court. We appealed to circuit court. Now our next court date's February 13th of 2024 in front of Jonathan Bell, and there's been 2 times we made the court, and right before court we had legal counsel, and right before court they dropped us. And so we have to find. We got a foundation for moral law out of Montgomery. It's supposed to be taking our case, so I need to reach out to them Monday. They're supposed to reach out to us, and we got, to me it feels like we're in a hurry, but to them they got a little time. So
they got time to kill.
Yeah,
I do feel like often when I'm doing things, I rush towards stuff. But we on God's time. It's all going to even out. Why do you think? Why on earth would you? So if our tax dollars are paying for them when they go to jail, right or wrong? Okay,
Right.
They're making all this money at color code off of them. All this money at color code off of them. Why would they not want them to have an opportunity right here at home as opposed to Auburn or Georgia or Mississippi or something? I don't know where all these places are, but why wouldn't they? Go ahead.
I think that they're well, what they say is that we're going to have sex offenders and rapists, child molesters, murderers.
I thought this was a drug thing.
Oh,
why are they saying that? Go ahead, elaborate. Go ahead.
They're scared that we're going to bring those type of men in without screening them, having a screening them along with a drug problem. And they're scared for their children. Now,
they believe that, or that's what they're saying?
That's what they've said.
That's what they're saying. They don't have facts. They're operating out of fear, honestly. They're operating out what ifs. And we told them, and we're going to do background checks through the county. We'll pay for the background checks and make sure everybody is screened and there's no violent offenders, no sex offenders or nothing like that. But at the same time, the same people that's opposed to us have rental properties.
Yeah.
And they don't screen their renters,
Oh, how many rental properties they got?
They've got like probably 4 or 5 right there in the same row, right there right in their house.
And no idea what they are.
And
no idea.
No.
Okay. So it's not really that.
It's money.
I'm just going to go ahead and
you're going to elaborate after she goes. Go.
We've literally been right next door to one of the main women who is totally against us opening the facility. Literally right next door, her next door neighbor, who was in a state of psychosis after doing a lot of methamphetamine, and had to talk him into getting back inside his house and calm him down, and had to flush his dope.
Oh, one of her renters.
One of her renters.
Well, and her like neighbor, you could throw a rock and it hit her front porch, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But a few hundred feet back behind her, she don't want him to get help.
No,
you know what I
no.
mean? So, and that's her concern. And I'm like,
Well,
You
she's
don't even know who he is.
well, she's probably charged him $1,000 a month to rent the place. And if he gets help, he's gone. He's living with y'all, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
$1,000 out of her pocket.
Money
She's gotta find
motivated,
another
the
renter.
root of all evil, the
If,
love of
if you
money.
get someone clean, what happens once they're clean? Am I still in color code once I'm clean after such a long time, or no?
Well,
I mean,
you don't.
after so
Eventually,
long,
I'm getting
no,
off
you're
color
getting
code.
off. Yeah.
And now I'm clean. I'm probably not going back. That's another dollar out of
Right.
the pocket. Now, what do you said? Money motivated. You want to touch on it a
Well,
little?
I think, a lot of money motivates people. Like, well, if they got renters, then, they're not concerned about what's going on there as long as they're getting money from it. But if they're people over in our facility, in which we do own the property on Sam Ellis Drive, we own a 12-acre, 12-bath piece of property. And it's a beautiful place. It's an acre and 1.3 acres. And we even offered to put up a privacy fence, 12-foot fence around the perimeter between us and now. And, but I don't want people to think that they're our enemy, because I told them at the last Sun board, I said, you're not our enemy. I said, we love you. And they're operating out of fear. Honestly, they're picturing places like the housing facilities in Powell's. And I don't know if I get in trouble saying Heyman Homes,
Yeah.
There's a lot of trouble goes in and out there. There's a lot of drugs going in, but that's not the same kind of process. Not
Yeah.
the same
Well,
thing.
now, is it Heyman Homes more of a mental or older people thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so no, it's two totally different
Yeah,
things.
it's too.
Right.
I've seen firsthand. So I've seen how Kenny's guys act. I've seen how the His Place guys act when they come down here, and help with shows and hang out with us. I've also been up there and we got to do a kickboxing / jiu-jitsu seminar with them. Very respectful, nice group of people. Nothing came missing out of my wallet. Didn't even hear a cuss word. I've met the Hosanna Home ladies, who are also, I believe, with the same group, as polite as can be. There's a huge difference. I mean, Heyman Homes is an active business in the area. Y'all are letting them be there, and you. It's very clearly a bad thing. It's very clearly bad. They're not paying anybody anything, so the only people going are people that are saying, "I need the money." You're $7.25 an hour, and then it just keeps happening where people's getting shot over there and stuff. That's a different thing. Y'all ain't gonna allow no guns at y'all's place. Y'all ain't, none of that. You hear they're there, right? They don't get to leave. That's not a thing.
Yes, if they leave, it's one of the staff members.
Yeah,
They have to be accompanied by one of us.
Yeah.
They can't even walk off the property. If they walk off the property, they forfeit the program. So
There you go. I like that. So tell me the name of. I'm very terrible. I should have wrote notes, but I didn't. Tell me the name of your place again.
it's Total Recovery Ministries, House of the Redeemed.
So now, what elaborate? What all do y'all do?
Well, right now we just do we do the once every Friday night meeting, but we also, if somebody would help people find them beds, to get into homes. Even when Beth worked at the father's house for Contender Blanchard, we've helped a couple of girls get in there. We paid for their intake fees, and they done really good. They have stayed with it, and very proud of them. And they finished the program. So, and we've helped a couple of people get down to like the Great Expectations and stuff like that. So we're doing what we can do right where we're at, but it's just never enough.
It's always nice to be able to do more. How did y'all meet? Oh, I wouldn't. Yeah, you didn't see that coming at all. We went eye contact. How did y'all meet?
We met at church.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Huntsville, so
Okay.
and
A lot of good people up that way.
I went to detox at Highlands, July 1st of 2019, and I was there 7 days, and I filled out 3 applications to different faith-based, and I surrendered when I was in New Outlook Detox, and I
And
said,
I'm
Lord,
listening.
I really hope you take me to the beach this time, but I don't care. Wherever whatever your will is, and I filled out three applications to faith-based program because I'd been in and out of institutions my whole life, 17, matter of fact. And, I was 40-year-old at that point, and I thought, I don't know if I'll ever get it, Anyway, I filled out 3 applications, and I never even heard of the Father's House. And the director of the detox came and said, well, you're not going home. You're going to the Father's House. And I said, where's that at? He said, Fife, Alabama. I said, well, where's that at? He said, up on Sand Mountain. I said, well, I've never heard of it before. He said, well, pack your bags. You're about to go. And when he said Sand Mountain, I'm going to be honest. I've heard of Sand Mountain, Meth Mountain. I've heard of Meth Mountain. And I was like, okay.
You're gonna send me to the hole, okay? All
But
right.
anyway, we met. Long story short, we met at Rainsville Church of God.
I
yeah.
gotcha. Awesome. How long y'all been going there?
Well, we go to New Life
Yeah.
Ministries now in Niagara. That's where we're based at with our Total Recovery Ministries.
Okay.
I married her, so she come up there with me. We still go back every once in a while.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, we'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
What about old Jeffrey Forden?
Oh, Jeffrey.
What about old Jeffrey? What
We
y'all
love
think,
him.
What y'all think about Jeffrey? Tell the truth now. What y'all think about
Oh,
Jeffrey?
we love him. So proud of him.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Jeffrey's awesome. He really is. When Beth was working down at Detox, she had to go to Family Life and fill in for a little bit when it got slow. And that's where she met Jeffrey at and invited him back. And that used to be his home church.
Mhm.
So he come back and and fell in love with him ever since.
I've known Jeffrey probably near 20 years, probably 15, 16 at least. And I remember when he had his wreck, lost his leg. I got real mad at that boy about it. I actually dropped Jeffrey off that night. He asked me to take him to this house, and he was going to hang out. And I told the guy, I said, "Look, man," I said, "don't be driving drunk with my brother in the car." And he said, "I got you, bro." I said, "I'm not your bro at all." I said, "Don't be driving drunk with my brother in the car." Because Jeffrey's pretty good at basketball, not good enough to beat me ever. He'll see that. He'll get a kick out of that. But I just knew like he had kind of opportunity, enjoyed it, and I didn't want having stuff taken away from him. I just had a bad feeling about it. But also, we were 16. There was a girl there he wanted to talk to. You know,
Yeah.
who knows what was going on? And it happened. And I'll never forget that. We went and seen him at the hospital. School actually let us out to go see him. And I'm very proud of him. I'm proud he's got everything figured out. His life's going good. He's got a little baby now.
Oh,
Man,
Yes.
it's just a wild thing.
Yes.
So alcohol is legal, incredibly addicting, and it does hurt people.
And also, you can die actually from detoxing off alcohol.
Okay.
That is one of the things I think one of the misconceptions, out there is, yes, it's legal, but you can also die literally from detoxing off alcohol. That and benzodiazepines. Anything else, I mean, is horrific. Obviously, especially like the opiates. I mean, methamphetamine. Is meant more mental. I believe personally that it's a little bit physical as well, because when you use a substance for so long, your body gets used to it. When you take it away, your body's going to feel off, right? Naturally.
Supplements, Tylenol,
But you
etc.
can die. I mean, the nurses literally have to tie the patients down. I mean, they go into psychosis. A week after quitting drinking alcohol, they'll still be in that state of psychosis. It is the most horrific detox I've ever seen.
So with it being like that, and there being a war on drugs in the area and things like that, why if there's a war on drugs, why are we only anytime someone's arrested for drugs, why is there so many pictures posted? And if someone's arrested for drunk driving, alcohol, something like that, why are we not seeing pictures of that? I'm not saying we should. I don't think we should anyway. But why are we seeing so many photos of the we got him again, with the drug
Yeah.
bust? Why is that? Do y'all think?
I think probably because alcohol is, I guess they don't want to shine light on it because they're doing it themselves.
Yeah.
I think alcohol has destroyed more homes and more families than any combined drug altogether. It's been doing it for years. It brings out the animal in people.
It really does.
It does.
I don't know why, but I can be okay. And then all of a sudden I'm angry or emotional. And and it's totally legal. I can go get a $12 bottle right now. I don't think the photos of people messing up, I think that's more kind of like a puff in your chest. I've had Tyler Perry on here. He used to be a cop. He used to arrest people on drugs. And he said that that's the easiest thing in the world to do is arrest someone that's on drugs. So why are you excited about it? Well, it's case numbers. Case numbers get up, you get a promotion, there's more money in the area.
More federal
Right.
funding.
Yeah. Now, everyone thinks that I hate the police. People say that, and it couldn't be the further thing from the truth. I think that if I'm going to be treated one way, or you're going to be treated one way, or someone else is going to be treated one way, I think we should all probably be treated the same way. If Nick Jones gets arrested for drinking and driving, it should probably be in the newspaper. Just like if I was to get arrested for drinking and driving and showed my
Yes.
tail, it's going to be in the newspaper. Local guy loses his mind. Yeah.
Yes.
I think everyone should get the same treatment across the board. If we're not going to put one thing in the paper or on the website, whatever you want to call it, the advertisement of it, I don't think it should be done to anyone else either.
Yeah.
We're kind of preying on poor people at that point, and you're just keeping them in a system. I don't think that should happen. Just today, my kids had a soccer game. Their coach is Officer Devlin. Me and Officer Devlin have never had a crossword. Nothing cross. How are you, brother? How are you, man? He gives me a hug when we see him. Well, high five anyway. And there's plenty of good cops, but I also think there's some that's kind of gaming the system and being really terrible to people that probably do have a really real problem. And I think there's a whole lot more that could be done about that. Because again, there's plenty of cops that I'm sure are doing drugs. I'm sure there's plenty of cops that are drinking. I'm sure there's plenty of cops that used to do drugs and maybe forgot where they was at. Maybe they forgot that happened, because I know when I was working for the jail, I was doing some drugs. Right? I know I was, because I know what all I've done in my life.
Yeah.
But one thing that was different between me and them is the way that we treated the people.
Mhm.
You'd see them bring people in, they'd be like a doper, loser stuff, and I was just like, hey man, you cool. Now if they talk to me silly, I was like, well, hey, I'm nice. Don't be mean to me.
Yeah.
And it's a difference in the way that they act. All of a sudden they're big and uppity and puff chest, and I'm talking about those cops, not all of them. The ones
Right.
that are acting like that towards people.
Right.
You work for those people regardless of what they did. You work for them.
Sounds like they need to check their ego.
Yeah, at the door, and there was good ones up there. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, there's a
yeah.
whole lot more that ain't like that.
Oh yeah.
That ain't
Yeah.
like that. So how much money do y'all? Just an idea. How much money do y'all think goes through color code at just DeKalb County?
Millions,
Millions,
if
of
not
dollars?
billions.
Well,
Probably billions.
to house one inmate in the state of Alabama is like $35,000 a year. So if you've got a program that's taking 16 guys off the street,
Yeah.
and not everyone's gonna get help, so let's just knock it down to 12 of them makes it.
Let's say 10.
10.
Let's do 10.
10 makes it.
All right.
So that's $335,000 a year. Is that right?
Out of the pocket, right?
Yeah, out of taxpayers' pockets. They don't have to pay away. And these guys are being productive and they're working now. And we got companies that, when we started doing this, we got companies that jumped on hand and feet first and said, hey, we want these guys to work for us, like Blue Scope,
Yes. Awesome.
Liberty Steel,
Awesome.
Gas House in Fort Wayne.
Okay.
Oh man,
Vanguard. Was it Vanguard?
no, not Vanguard. That's Trenton. I can't remember that.
Full crank.
Liberty Steel, Gas House.
You good? Ain't no rush.
Last three.
Yeah. Now, what do you mean when they said they want these guys to work for us? Elaborate, because I don't know what you mean.
Oh, and Valley Joyce.
Okay.
They said they take these guys and they said, I asked them, I sat down with them and told them what the program was and that we'd do screening and background checks. And if they, I said, no matter, I said, treat them just like you would regular employees.
Yeah.
And they said, well, I said, how far would these guys be able to go in your company? And now we got Blue Scope over here and the manager over it. He said he started out on the line just doing simple things on the yard, loading trucks, and he's general manager over it now. He said these guys can, if they can come in here and work hard, he said they can do that. They can reach the top if they want to.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will turn them away. A lot of people will. That's awesome to hear. That's really cool. It was a Blue Scope, the Gas House, and
Liberty Steel, Valley Joyce, and I think even Dipstick Garage.
Okay.
Said, if they're mechanically inclined, they
That's
take
awesome.
them work on diesels.
My dad works at the Gas House. My dad's been there a long time. He's making really good money. So if you need a job, go get you a job. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
That's right.
Pictures.
Thanks, baby.
So where was I at? I don't really plan questions out. I try to shoot off the cuff. That way nobody's prepared for nothing. Is there anything y'all think I'm missing? Is there anything y'all want to touch on? We still got about 20 minutes is all I'm saying. Oh, y'all going to Recovery Under the Stars tonight?
We are doing
Yes.
Recovery Under Stars. Let's
Okay.
go ahead, baby.
Go ahead, talk on it. What all is going to be going
Recovery
on?
Under
over
the Stars is tonight. It's at Rainsville City Park, and there's
Okay.
going to be popcorn and cotton candy and snow cones and
there? Okay.
hot dogs and
Uh-huh.
a lot of resources for anyone that may be struggling or not. Resources for the family, community resources. To help your loved one or help yourself. And it's just they're gonna be showing Jesus Revolution. It's an awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, come out and watch it. You won't regret it.
I've actually never seen that movie. We're going tonight. Hannah invited us, and Vicky said, "Well, hey, we got to go because she invited us. I'm going to go see my brother first in Ider, and then we're going to go to that." So very excited about that. Who got that planned? How did y'all get Rainsville to accept that?
That's Katina Blanchett. She's the one.
That would be a
that's done
question
this.
for her. I'm not sure how.
She's a go-getter.
How she arranged that one.
I got you. Next one's kind of hard, and y'all might not know, but it's a hard question. With there being a very vocal, a very public, a very, hey, look at me, take these photos, war on drugs. Why is there still so many drugs here? Why is it so easy? Why is Ider overran with drugs? Why do y'all think that is? If there is a war on drugs here, seems like it's only got worse. I see more people high now on the road than I did 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. What's going on? Why? How have we not even got close to nipping this in the bud? Now that was a good one.
Now, I think for certain time that we had, the Bible speaks of a restrainer. It's like, the police are a restrainer. And Ider, for a long time, now Chief Malone, I talked to him the other day.
He seems nice.
He sounds like a good guy. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah. I have to look up to him. I'm 6'3", but he told me the other day, and I was talking to him, and I said, how many cops you got on staff now? How many police? He said 5 and 2 auxiliary. I said, wow, that's a good show of force right there. Because if you got a place that's not having no kind of restrainer there, no kind of presence there, then I hate to sound like this. And even though I said I was one, I said, you turn on the light and the cockroaches run. But I said, well, you put more police in the area. I said, the drugs seem to subside and they go to different places. That restrainer's got to be everywhere. It's got to be, that presence got to be. And Chief Malone, he didn't say one bad thing about nobody. He said these people need help, And he told me, I'm so proud of you, I said, I appreciate that, And he said, I'm proud of what y'all are doing. And so I think, when we have good cops like that, people that really love people and care about people and have a good leadership.
Not just racking them numbers up.
Yeah, not racking them numbers up. And trying to put back in the community to help the community. And that's good, I thank God I got arrested right down here on Carlisle Road.
Yes, sir.
That was people say arrested. I was rescued,
Yeah.
I was in the mode of self-destruct. I wouldn't try to kill myself, but if you look at my mugshot, I wouldn't try to live neither. I was so miserable.
You looked and I mean this in the best possible way. I'm going to be mean for 1 second.
Go ahead.
For 1 second, I'm going to be mean, and then it's going to come better. You looked like Skeletor, man. You looked the picture I've seen of you shrunk down, an absolute mess. Look like you've been through the worst weight cut of all time for a fight. You were sunk in, man, and you look healthy today. Man. What was that like? Who first realized you was looking healthy? What mom and dad think? What wife think? What was that like? What was that, man? I'm good. I'm out here. I'm back. What was that like?
Oh man,
Son, we out here. We got good questions today.
Yeah. Well, when you start coming back around, it's the people that you neglected that rallies around you, like my sister, Kevin, my mama, people, and then you find a good spouse like Beth, and that's that's this is my grounded point right here. We balance one another, and we're good for one another, and but when people when addiction, we put them on back burner, and that's the people that love us, and we go around and we find broken people and hang out with because they don't challenge us to be better.
What I was going to say, as far as your question goes, is, I don't know an answer, and I'm not from this area, so I really can't say, an answer to that question. But I do know this, that if we as addicts or alcoholics, truly get healed, set free and delivered, we're called to help, the lost and the hurting and the lonely. So if you're set free, healed, and delivered, what we're called to do is to turn around and to help those that aren't set free, healed, and delivered. And I think that, that's what the Lord wants us to do. And, I've never seen anything like what's going on on this mountain as far as recovery. Now, I thank God today that I don't know, even if I wanted to get high, I wouldn't know where to go get it. I don't have a hookup, on this mountain. I know that I probably could find it. I do know that, but I thank God that I don't have the desire to. But I think that if you are ever set free, healed, or delivered, you need to stand up on your feet. You need to start a ministry. You need to, look down and help your brother or sister and lift them up, and help them to get healed. You need to deal with those deep rooted
There
issues
it is right there.
of why were you getting high?
That's
Yes,
it.
you may have been curious early on, as a teenager. A lot of times for me personally, I was curious. I wanted to feel different. I was never comfortable in my skin, if that makes any sense. I wanted to feel different. I don't know why. I really can't explain it. I had a good upbringing. I really did. I can't complain. I mean, there was a little bit of trauma there, but I can't blame that for turning out the way that I did. You know what I mean? It was a choice at first, and it became to be not a choice for me. It became a lifestyle, and I didn't have a choice. It had such a grip on me. But when you're set free from such something that has such a hold on you, make sure you help somebody and turn around and lift them up, out of their miry muck.
Yeah, because you've been there.
Yeah, you've been there.
You help the next person. Now, okay, so my biggest addiction, I've said it on here before. I don't care to touch on it again. And I think it is probably not the easiest addiction to get. I think it is the most accessible because of our phones. Why do y'all think porn addiction is such a problem in this day and age? What's going on with that? Because I can just grab it.
Mhm.
I've recently I had to cut myself off from that because it was just I could be like sad or worried or
Mhm.
sick, and I would go do that. Why? What's that?
Well, it's just the satisfaction of the flesh, and it's something that just is satisfying. People. I've never really had a big problem with porn. I have looked at porn back in my days, but it's just the same amount of addiction as anything else.
I was 8 years old first time I seen it. Found my uncle's video.
Yeah.
VHS. I threw it in, and maybe 6 years old. I was very young.
Yeah.
And ever since now I'm old. Like now we're grown. Young to old. I had the computers. We had laptops, tablets. Bam! I have a phone in my hand.
Everything's right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
It's easily accessible, and it's fantasy, and it looks good. If it's a fanatical type of feeling, I think, and I'm sure it releases serotonin or dopamine in your brain, probably the same feel good chemical that any drug would.
I think
you know
you're
what I
right.
mean? So
I like that.
Um,
What advice would y'all give to anyone? Okay, I ask you both. I give you two separate. Y'all can answer in whatever order you'd like to. If someone is addicted to any substance, what would your advice be to them? What would you tell them to do? First step from here. They're here in DeKalb County. What would you say to them? You can tell they're tore up. You can tell they're out there. What advice would you give them?
I would say step back and let's take a look at not just what right now, but step back and let's look at the whole past. What's the root cause? When did you start using? What happened in your life that was that going on at that point that you started? I want to do something to make me feel better, whether it's drugs or alcohol or pornography or what was going on in my life. Was I neglected? Was I molested, or am I trying to cover up some kind of pain there and with some kind of self-medication, the substance to make it feel better? There's a lot of times that trauma in our life makes us turn to something else. And we was talking about my dad earlier, and it's crazy. I thought, well, I'm not going to be like my dad. I'm not going to be an alcoholic. I'm going to be a drug addict.
Yeah.
I'll show him.
I'll show him. I'm gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
I used to be so mad at my daddy. I used to be so mad. And then just in this last year, I finally forgave him for everything. My dad didn't touch me and nothing like that. It's just life was hard growing up. I used to just hate him. And anytime he'd say something, not hate him because he's your daddy, you want him to love you. But there'd be times when he'd say stuff and I'd be like, well, I can whoop the mess out of you. And he'd be like, no, you can't, but no, I for sure can. Because like I was mad. And anything he would say, I just let him know, like, no, nothing. He couldn't say nothing good enough to me.
Yeah.
And since I've let that go, I feel so much better. I
Yes.
love my dad. We have
Yes.
such a better relationship,
Good.
such a better relationship with the grandkids. And I do forgive my dad. Life's hard. No one really knows what the mess is going on down
Right.
here except Jesus. And if you're not letting him lead your stuff, you're going to be in rough shape. Keep going. Anything
Yeah.
else on it?
Well, I just would say honestly, you know, lost my train of thought, but that's what these programs are for. That's what the Father's house is about. That's what his place is about. That's what Hosanna House is about, is getting down to the root issues, what was going on. That's what our program is going to be about. You know, getting to what was happening here to make you keep going back and doing what you're doing. And you said getting to a point where, okay, I forgive you. And I let go. Amen. I was 16-year-old and I went off with an older guy and 10 years older than me. I thought I always hung with an older crowd. He drugged me and raped me.
So,
And, what did I do? I didn't deal with it. I stuffed it down and kept it quiet. And I didn't talk about it for 30 years. And I medicated.
Yeah.
I medicated. I got tougher. I got meaner. I put up the barriers and I kept people away. But
and people don't understand how easy that can happen either. Is they think, oh, we're going to watch our kids and stuff. When I was young, my granddad had a neighbor, and he would take me up there to the neighbor because the neighbor played video games, and I'd hang out with the neighbor. And the neighbor was my granddad's age.
Yeah.
And that's another way that I saw porn for the first time. I say for the first time, but it's another thing that sticks out to me is we were in his room and I was just playing video games. And he was like, "Oh man, have you seen this?" And he just pulled it up on his computer, his desktop. My granddad knew I was in the bedroom. He thought I was just playing video games. I thought I was just playing video games. He showed me some porn on the computer. And then anytime I was over there, he'd let me know I could watch. Let me know anytime I wanted to watch, I can watch. And I was like, oh, cool, man. Sweet. That's pretty neat. He never said don't tell Pawpaw, but I kind of knew don't tell Pawpaw because that's the naked lady. I'm watching it and stuff every time I go over there. Well, one day he takes me and my brother out. So it gets to like certain parts in it. And he told me, he said, I can show you how to do that. And I said, no way. No, thank you. No. And I just kept playing video games. And that's when I realized it was weird. Well, then he took me and my stepbrother out to the building, and he showed us magazines that he had. And he said, y'all come in here in this building. And we caught that vibe right off. Keep an eye on your kids. He lives right over back in Powell's, the Crossroad area, lives right over in there. I know him. I see him sometimes at Lowe's. I ain't got nothing to say to him. But if he says something to my kids, man, we're going to talk. And he's going to look crippled when we leave. Because because I know what you are. I know what you're doing. And I'll never forget that. It's so easy. Keep an eye on your kids, man. This area, it's a weird area. It seems like it's popping up a lot with the creeper catchers people.
Yeah.
They're catching a lot of people from both in town and out. It's a wild time. What advice would you give somebody trying to get cleaned up? They're out there. They're dealing with it.
If you are ready to get help, reach out to somebody. Reach out to Daniel or myself. And we'll help you. If you need detox, we'll help you get into detox. If you need treatment, we'll help you get in somewhere. We'll help you any way we can. I would say that acceptance is key of your situation, acceptance of what has become of your life, and surrender your will and your life over to the care of God is your answer. But we'll help you along that way.
What number should someone call if they're going to get with you guys for help? What should they call?
Well, you call my number and we'll figure out something. Mine's 256-605-5268. If you're a lady, I prefer you call Beth's number if that's all right with her.
1 second, 605 what?
5268.
5268.
Yeah, and if you're a lady, I just assume you deal with Beth, and that keeps it more respectful. And her number is 256-601-4373. And
what's the last four?
4373.
73
601.
56601-4373.
Yes, sir. I think it's decent. A man to deal with a man and a woman to deal with a woman.
I think you're right.
It keeps the marriage humble.
It don't make things confusing because you're gonna. I have to assume you're gonna get attached to people. And humans are confused by emotions all the time. You're going to get attached to people. You're supposed to love people. You're supposed to love everybody as sisters, brothers, things like that. Yeah, man, I think that's awesome. I'm going to give y'all a question and then I'll show you my favorite Bible verse. Once you started doing all this, when did you say, "Oh, okay, this is what God wants me to do"? Y'all can think about that for a second. When you started doing everything that you're doing, when did you go, "Okay, all right, I'm doing what God's telling me to do"? I believe it's Matthew 9, verse 9 through 12, and this is when I realized that I kind of at least got a shot at going to heaven. And again, this is like one of the first verses I highlighted, and I'd like to get it tattooed just because I like it. It's the y'all know where I'm at. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," he told him, and Matthew got up and followed him. While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners, and I read tax collectors and sinners in the sense of a whole lot of scummy people because I know how I am, came and ate with him and his disciples. While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus, not Matthew, not John, not Luke, none of those people, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Man, that right there, as scummy as I've been in my whole life, when I read that, I was like, I at least got a shot. I dig that. I love that so much. It's terrifying to me because I know what I deserve, and I deserve hell. I deserve death. I do not deserve my wife and my family. And that verse right there is like, it's all right, man. Y'all mess up. You drop the ball. It's what we do down here. And man, it hits me hard every time I read it, and I probably need to read a lot more than I do. When you were starting all this, when did you go out, man? Or actually, was there a point where you're like, "God, is this what you want me to do?" What was the turning point when you said, "All right, we got this"?
Well, we started, like I said, we launched Total Recovery Ministries in May of 21, and that was a real scary time, honestly, just take that step. And you're thinking, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, he goes out and builds a house, considered first the cost, unless he not finished the work and he be a laughing stock. I'm kind of paraphrasing that, but and that verse was on my heart. I thought, Lord, you got to be in this, and it got bigger than me. It was consuming my thoughts, and every time I look around, I seen a need for it, and so we started doing that on Friday night. Then I started looking around, and right now we got 3 women's home in DeKalb County, and I thought, what about the guys? What about if we put the covering back over the home? We put the daddy back with his children and fix the home that's broken. We may not be able to reconcile the marriages or nothing like that, because there might be so much hurt that's been there that they just be better off apart. But some of them, but some marriages can be reconciled. But I think if we put the covering back over the home and put the daddy back over the home or the husband, and then I think we'll start seeing so many broken kids not be broken no more. And so when I looked around, and I thought, well, we got 3 women's home in DeKalb County. We got the Father's House. We had the Summit, and now we got the Hoosover House, and now we're fixing to have a 4th one in Fort Payne. They're building a brand new one right off Dugout Valley Road down there, and not one home for men. And that's really, I started looking at it, it broke my heart. I thought my own time in my life that I would have showed up and knocked on the door and begged for help, if we had something around here. But I didn't know where to turn to or even how to turn, because, we was raised up and thinking, you deal with it, you're tough.
Yeah.
Push it down and be a man.
Yeah, be a man.
Don't talk about your feelings.
I like that guy.
Don't talk about your feelings. Anger was the big acceptance in our family. It was, if you was laughing, you was up to something sometime. And, anger was, daddy was big, go down and whoop that boy. And if he whoops you, I'm going to whoop you.
Yep.
So you better go down and do it. So anger was acceptable. So that's what, but people don't learn to talk about things. And we got to get the stigma out of the way where guys can say, hey, I'm going through this, brother.
I'm going through it, man.
Help me. Can you help me?
Right.
And, and that's the biggest thing the enemy wants to do, is make you feel isolated, feel like you're the only one going through that.
Yeah, it's just you're a bad person.
Yeah, that's like when I was drugged and raped, and I thought, man, I'm the only one that ever been through this, and I kept it quiet. I thought, shameful, am I going to be a real man? And when I did finally give my testimony, I can't tell you the guys that's come up and said, thank you for telling.
That's awesome.
Because I wasn't the only one.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, it
No way.
wasn't. And there's so many guys out there have been toting that burden around and feeling like they could never get healed from it. You know, and I told people, I said, I've got no anger in my life. In fact, yeah, the guy that did that to me, he's dead, but there was another one present. But if they walked in a room, I wouldn't hate them.
Yeah.
I'd want them to get an altar and I want them to get right.
That's strong, son.
Amen.
That's wild.
Yes.
That's wild. When did you go, baby, you doing it? Baby, you got it. You doing it. What was the kind of like the turning point for you where you said, man, he's got this?
Oh, well, I guess that just starting.
Yeah. He said he's
Or
gonna
I
get it.
guess, yeah, just setting the date, you know, because
Oh, man.
I guess that was, you know, because we had talked about it and just, we have a friend of ours that was like,
Oh,
just set a date.
he's like a bulldog.
Set a date.
We
and
set a date.
started on that
He
date
said,
because
I said, we're going to change the date. And he said, no, you're not. He said, not changing the date.
You know.
Wee, son.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
When 1 second. Deanna Galloway said that's my family. Love
I
y'all.
love her too.
There's more. Jen Lawson said we love y'all very much. Crystal Benson said love y'all. So
Love
proud
Anna.
of y'all. Hannah Pale said I love you. That one was for me, but I bet y'all too. Katina Blanchett said love y'all so much. Crystal Tilly said so proud of you guys. I think, and then Kevin Poole I already said.
Love y'all.
Okay, so is there any people, any groups, anything that y'all would like to, while you have the platform stuff, that y'all would like to thank while you have the
Oh, my
time?
God.
I know it's on the spot. I should have hit you with that one before, but go ahead, do the best you can.
Katina Blanchett, honestly. When this woman comes through that program, she, oh, sorry.
You all right, brother?
She
You
may
good.
have come in broken, but she come out of that program strong.
Oh.
And you know, when I seen her and I met her, and I it's kind of a little funny. I seen her video when she graduated to
He was
Father's house.
stalking me, y'all.
It was a little Holy Ghost talking. And I seen the video, and I was flipping through Facebook, and this is the tail end of it. And I thought, man, that's a beautiful lady. And I didn't.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is her. And I thought, man, and older lady kept inviting me to come to Rainsford Church of God on Sunday night before COVID happened. They used to have Sunday night service, and Mary Kilgore, and she's like, Mary's in her 80s now, and she called me Buster. She said, Buster, come to church with me. I'm like, okay, I'll come up there. And one Sunday night, I was over there praising the Lord on the right side of the church, and I looked over, and I thought, my God, there's that woman.
Ha.
There she is. Oh, man. But Katina's program's got 87% success rate
That's awesome.
of women coming out there and getting their families back and holding their ground and reaching into the toolbox and using what they learn. I've seen Beth do that so many times, and I've seen her reach in and get things and pull herself back up and say, this is what I got to do. This is a tool I learned, and I'm going to use it. So I thank Katina for Addis for Christ, and she's been a pioneer in this since
Day one.
years, man.
That's
She
awesome.
is. In DeKalb County, she's been the pioneer for recovery.
Yes.
That's awesome. What about you, man? Anybody you want to thank?
Well, I just want to thank my family, you know, for putting up with me for so many years. You know, not really knowing anything, not really knowing what to do with me. I mean, they really didn't. And they would tell me that, you know. I didn't know what to do with me, but you know, New Outlook Detox, which unfortunately they're closed now. I'd like to thank just Katina Blanchett. I mean, Tina Pike, Anna Curry, you know, the ones that were working at the Father's house when I was there. Addicts for Christ, Emerge Church, Rainsville
Yes.
Church of God, Chris Bell, Vicki Bell,
Life Chapel up the road.
Life Chapel,
Such a great group of
New
people.
Life Ministries, Fort Payne Church of God. There's just so many. You know, Family Life Center. I'm working there now. You know, there are resources out there, and I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful for the love that I feel in this community. Yes, there may be drugs, and we're you know, I pray to God that we can just plant some seeds, you know, because when I look back on my story, you know, and why did it take so long? There was always seeds planted, you know. when I started my first rehab at 25 years old, there was a seed planted,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
and continually on. So, yeah.
I thank Mark for life too and for pain. You know what's amazing to me is this is not no competition. All of us, if we can't do it by ourselves, and we all band together. And if there's a need, and somebody comes up with a need like this other day, and we didn't get the help with that, but it was posted. There was a lady and her kids, and they was needing a place to stay. And I know they got that place to stay. I know, that the community reached in and helped them out. But I think it's great that we all support one another, and we may not always get to each other's meetings all the time, but we stay close and we stay connected and we stay plugged into each other, and we're aware of what's going on. Like, when we have a recovery event, we all try to go. We all try to be there for the community, and I just think it's great. We have such a great network. We do.
And we love Kenny Young and what he's doing. I've only met him once or twice, but I follow him on Facebook.
Some anointing on that.
And I've heard his testimony.
He's a big
matter
old
of fact,
teddy bear.
There's some anointing on him.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I heard his testimony when I was in the Father's house. Matter of fact.
If y'all have seen him, you'd never even recognize him. If you'd have seen him back in, he don't look like Kenny. Kenny now looks like you said, a jolly, healthy teddy bear.
Yeah.
No, Kenny was it's crazy, man. It's just as nice as he was to me and as nice as he has been since. I love that guy. I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him, and I hope y'all have a ton of success in getting things like that here. If we're closing it off, we'll go with you first, and then you, if y'all like, or whoever gets their answer ready first. So just right to left. But if y'all had anything to say to Meth Mountain, whether they're sober, addicted, successful, thriving, or kind of down in the dumps, what would that be? Anything y'all need, y'all go ahead. You get one thing to say to them. What do you got? The mountain as a whole.
Oh, wow. I would say our motto is sick and healing for the whole family. It's not just the drug addict that goes through it, it's the family that suffers with them. So I would say to the people, if you never had a drug problem, come out these meetings and see these people recovering. I know how the family members has rubbed you and pushed you down, and you about got just a belly full, and you think there's no hope for them. Come see these people that has recovered. Come see these people that celebrating life and loving Jesus and loving other people. Hope. I remember feeling I wear a sign sometimes, and on top of it says, Jesus gives hope to the hopeless. Yep. I remember feeling so hopeless. And I know the family members feel hopeless when they see us going through it. When you see your kids sick, you want to do something.
Yeah.
And that a physical sickness, but then you get an addiction, and it's the same way. You want to help them, you want to heal them, and just hope. There's hope. Come to these meetings. Wipe away the stigma that you're not welcome there. I've had so many people ask me time after time, so I've never done drugs. Can I come to these meetings? I said, please come. Please come. Yeah. That you can give hope, because we try to focus at total recovery. We do somebody that's been through an addiction, give their testimonies. Then we do a preaching in between, and then we try to get a family member to give their side of the story. So that way we have a full view, a 360 of everything, what's going on. And to see what the mothers went through, what the daughters went through, what the families went through, and what the addicts went through. So, hope.
For me, before you answer, you're good. For one thing I'll add is I do see a lot of people here lately really, really kind of bashing people that are on drugs and have drug problems. First off, if you're a Christian, the Bible says don't do that. So there's that. Don't judge people, or you'll be judged the same way. But secondly, it could be your mom, dad, son, daughter, brother, sister, aunt, uncle. It could always be you. It could always cut closer to your house. So, man, I don't wish it on nobody. Just be mindful, because the world's a crazy place. It has a weird way of spinning around. Go ahead. If you had anything to tell everybody, what would you tell them?
That's a good point. And also be very careful, because that could be you one day.
It could be you. It could be you.
And so, oh man. Yeah, I hope. That I like that word, because I remember being hopeless and so broken. And so I guess I would say don't lose hope. And, we're here for you. If you need just, someone to listen, and we're here for you.
That's awesome.
Don't
man.
lose hope.
Yes, ma'am. I have greatly enjoyed my time today. If I had any advice for anybody, read your Bible, get your kids praying. You say you don't got time to take kids to church, there's time. You got Wednesday or you got Sunday. Read the Bible a little at home. My kids recently started reading, not reading, but we say a prayer. What's the prayer the Bible tells you to pray? Our Father who art in heaven.
Yes, I say it
Okay.
every morning.
Okay, so now I say it a lot during the day now because, like, I freak out. But now I've got my kids to where they've almost got it, right? So I was putting them to bed the other day. Y'all get a kick on this. Good way to close it out. I was tucking the kids into bed, and I make them say it before bed. Brittany Rigdon said, love y'all. Deanna Galloway said, that's my family. Love y'all. Sophia Murphy said, Beth, I love you. You're a huge inspiration to me. I was tucking my kids into bed, and I had them saying the prayer. And you know all that. I got to feeling it, man. They was saying the prayer. We say the prayer together. Well, I was standing up while they was praying, man. And all of a sudden, that room felt wild. That room felt different. Now, people can say whatever they want to say. I don't care. I believe what I believe. I believe in God and Jesus. But when my kids were saying it, it was like, oh, son, give me some of that. And it felt good, man. It felt cool. I went into my bedroom. My wife was going to try to scare me. She was hiding in the middle room. But I was not afraid, Victoria, because my kids had prayed over me. And but now, once I got into the room and shut the door, I got a little afraid. Because what she'll do is she won't scare me by, she'll be quiet. Yeah, and it's all, I'm so scared of the dark. But get your kids in church. At very least, read the Bible, man. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys, and I
Thank you
appreciate
so
the time.
much.
Y'all did great. Good luck moving forward. If there's anything we can do to help, let us know. We'll advertise, do whatever we can. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, love y'all. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Thank you,
See y'all
brother.
tonight at Recovery Under the Stars.
Yes.
Yeah.